Okay, back to this. Uh, there's no possible way that I could have the seat scooted up anymore with how tall I am. And I really don't understand how in the world somebody shifted this thing with this foot peg thing back on here. I mean, look at where the shifter is. You got this bar here, so these are going to go away. I'm not going to use these. I'll make my own floorboard. I've got some metal I can make some with. I'm looking at this, and I'm not going to make the seat to where I'll flip it up to raise the bed. I think I'm going to have the bed come straight behind the seat, come out. I think I'm going to have about a 3-foot bed. That'll put it just a little ways past right here. So a lot of the weight will be centered right on the back spot right here, which is what I'm looking for. So what I'm going to do is I've got some angle iron here. I'm going to cut 2 3-foot sections, and I'm going to have the angle iron lay over the top right here. That way when the bed is lowering back down, the angle iron is giving it something to guide itself on to help keep it true. It'll also, while the bed is down, it'll help the bed from bouncing sideways, you know. I'm probably going to have maybe a foot and a half sideboards all the way around it. So let me get this cut down to 3-foot sections. I need 2 of them. I'll get it put on there. I'm going to build some kind of pivoting point back here. I've got some rod that I can use, but yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to use some rod to pivot, use for a pivoting point. That way, if I need to take the bed off, I can pull the rod out and remove the bed. So let's get this stuff cut. Guys, I'll give you a little bit of tip. When you're cutting metal with these bandsaws, with this one anyhow, the Harbor Freight one, there's a little hole right here. It's got down pressure, you know, as far as the weight, but it's not a lot. It makes your cutting time really slow, and in some cases it's not enough weight to even help push through the metal. It'll just sit there and stay on the metal without cutting. So what I do is I just simply take a clamp, put it right here, and just let the weight of it hang there. And that actually helps out a lot as far as helping cut. So, just a little tip. Some of you are going to say, well, that's too much weight on it, blah, 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 but with a cheap, generic Harbor Freight blade, I have cut a lot of metal doing the same exact thing that I'm doing right now. So I'm going to fire up my shop vac here and suck up all these metal shavings while it's cutting. Oh, and real quick, before you say anything about the spring tensioning, I've got all the slack loosened off of this. So I've got all the weight I can get down on the blade, which is not a lot. So I do this, and it helps out a lot. It's not the fastest cut, but it's about perfect. Alright folks, we got these cut down to 3 feet. And you can see how much is going to stick over the back. It's not much at all. What I'll do is I'm going to put some shims in between the main frame here and the bed frame. It'll have just a little bit of clearance on each side. That way, when this sets down, this metal isn't grinding against this metal to try to fight for itself to set down. I'll put the same shims front and back. Alright guys, I got it clamped down. I've got my spacers in between it, as you can see. what I've done is I'm going to utilize more of this hospital bed, nursing home bed. I got it from a nursing home, but anyhow, I'm going to utilize some more of that framing for the pivot point right here. What I've done is this is actually a pivot point for this. It was stuck inside of that bracket right there. It was in between this one and this one here. And when it was in between there, it had this pin right here on each side. It would slide up inside of, it would actually slide through this. It would go inside of that hole right there, go up to it. Let me see. Just like that. And there's a screw right here that goes inside of there and it locks that in. So we're going to use some of this. I'm going to try to use some of this bracket since it's already got the hole drilled and it's already got this bolt hole right here drilled and tapped. We're going to cut this down. We're going to try to cut those off. We're going to try to put them on here on each side. And we're going to try to notch this framing out right here, big enough to put this pipe in there so I can get a good weld and go across there. That'll be a pivot point for it. And if I want to remove the bed, I just pull those pins out and the bed can come right off. So let me get this cut down. I've got to have it cut to 13 inches. So I'll cut that down to 13 inches in the bandsaw. That way I get a good straight cut. I'll pop these plastic caps out. After I get it cut, put them back in there. Alrighty, now we've got that side. Looking pretty good. Alright, got that burned in there. Got it nice and square. So now what I'll do, set my framing back down on there for the bottom of the bed. And we'll get our holes marked. Get them drilled out. Alrighty, now we're back. I've got a clamp back in there again. And I've actually got it finished already as far as this part. I've got this nice and welded all up inside of there. As you can see. There we go. On both sides. There we go. That's my pivoting point. What I did was I measured the pin, drilled the hole in the angle iron, drilled another hole in front of it, tapped it. This is what holds the pins in. I've got these spaced out the same as I do back here. There's 2 washers on the inside right here that's giving me my space. That was a pretty good thing back then, I think. Justin Timberlake owns that now, my space. Oh, anyhow, back to this. I've got both of them clamped, squared off. So what I'm about to do now is I'm going to start building the frame for the bed as far as the bottom of it. I'm going to start putting my cross pieces over here throughout the bed section here, or the frame rails. We had some gentleman on Facebook in one of the motor groups, I think it was Sprocket's Garage or Southern Off-Road Motors. They asked where we got our metal. Everything I've used on here so far other than this 2 angle iron pieces was completely free. They're old hospital beds. I got them from a nursing home. And you can see, I just went outside and I took some more of it apart, and I've got quite a bit of metal. That is what I'm going to use to build the floor. So, I've also got some 1x1 square tubing over here. It's got some pretty thick wall on it right here. Let's see if I can get one up. I probably can't, but let's see, here's a piece right here. This is how thick it is. I may use that for the floor frame. May run that probably 3 or 4 pieces across throughout it, and then use this for the edges, outside edges. What I'm building, it's going to be a 40-inch wide bed. Roughly, I think it's going to be maybe 40 inches long. That's 36 inches. If I come out another, 4 inches, I'll have a square bed. It'll look more symmetrical to me, so I think that's what I'm going to do. I may even make it 48 inches. That's putting it out probably to about right here. That's quite far out there. I don't want it to be too tipsy or nothing. But let me get a piece of metal clamped from there to there, and we'll come back and I'll show you how it raises up and everything. I'd almost have to say this and my welder are my favorite shop tools. Love it that you can stack all 3 of them. Get that in down there perfectly straight, all 3. Cut this in right here, and then you got exactly the same size pieces. Love it. Alright guys, so what I've done is I've got 3 pieces cut, 39.5 inches long. It's going to equal out to be 36 inches this way by 39.5 inches wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld these, the front and the middle, or the back. Then I'll get some of my clamps loose. I'll put this brace in the middle and I'll weld it. Then I'll go all the way around it with this angle iron. That'll give me something to start building, being able to lay my floor down to, and plus it'll give me something to be able to weld walls around out of metal. So let me get this welded and we'll come back. Alrighty, there we go. Got it burnt in. And let me try to set you on a tripod here real quick, and I'll show you that it does work. Give me just a second here. Sorry about the shop mess, but it's a progress. Work just like a dumbbell should. problemos. Now what I'm going to do is I'll take some of this angle iron, and as you can see, some of it already has holes in it where they had it bolted on, and I'm going to use that to my advantage. I'll put some of it right through here, and the reason why I'm going on top of this is that way I can lay metal on this and still tack all across. So the bed can be just a little bit longer now. This frame here is 39.5 wide by 36 long, but I'm gonna let this overhang back here. It'll be something like that right there. But I'll also take another piece for the front and the back. I'll have to notch it out, that way it comes even with this. So this right here will scoot it just a little bit, the same thickness as the angle iron. I'll notch the other piece out, that way it comes up with it and it's got a full corner here. So let me get that done and we'll come back. Alright guys, there you go. I've got her in up for now. Sad thing is it don't even run. I'll figure it out though. It's just some kind of firing issue. But anyhow, that's how it's looking so far. And yes, I know the bed is tilted up higher, but that's okay with me. I'm going to make probably back here, I'm going to put another brace. Since I did extend it, I'll have another brace coming from that angle iron. It'll extend out further because I've still got enough room to weld inside of there. And if I weld here, then it's okay because this whole thing will pivot. I'll have it come back from here all the way back to underneath of here. But in my haste to do something, I did kind of make a little bit of boo-boo. Boo-boo. If you'll notice, it's got angle iron all the way around. I don't need angle iron back here because I want this part to be opened. I may make some sort of swing gate or something. I'm not sure yet. But I don't want angle iron stopping stuff from sliding out. That's what a gate is for, like a little back door, back hatch, tailgate rather. There you go. I get everything burnt in nice and solid. I'm no professional welder, but I'm slowly getting better at it. Let me focus in on that welding. Let me see here. It's probably hot. Well, anyhow. Practice makes perfect, I guess. So, I tried not to weld on the insides because, for one, it's really, really hard to grind. And for two, I want the metal for the flooring to set flat down so I can tack weld it around. If you'll notice, the seat is going to hit. So, there we go. Now we're not fuzzy. But the seat will hit, so I am going to make the seat to where it can pivot forward. I am going to scoot the seat up just a little bit so it does clear the back. But I've got a few inches still yet up front. I can still scoot forward. I didn't weld it all the way across, as you can see on the other side where I burnt through the heat. Anyhow, I just spot welded. You don't have to go crazy and weld the whole thing. There's no need in all that. But anyhow, let me flip the seat up out of the way and show you. It's probably still warm a little bit. Raises up just perfect. Goes all the way back to right there and it stops, which I'm not going to have it up like that. The maximum that I'm going to have it tilting is probably about right there. That's plenty of tilt. It's like, I don't even know what degree that is. But that's plenty for what I'm going to be using it for. I've got to design some kind of lifting mechanism for it. Not sure how I'm going to do that yet. I thought about using that chain, that little gearbox right there, but that's going to be a little bit too much work. I'll probably just, I don't know if I'll use that, or I don't know, I'll figure out something. But anyhow, we're going to call it good on this video tonight. I've still got to get the firing figured out. Don't know what's wrong with that, but I guess I'll go ahead and order another CDI box and another coil, so we'll go from there. God bless each and every one of you. If this video is inspiring you, please give it a like, share it, hit the little bell to get your notifications for whenever I do upload another video. Another thing real quick, I am going to put some gussets in here. It'll weld to this angle iron, and it'll kind of be like a long triangle, and it'll come out to about right here. So that'll have plenty of strength on that. So, but again, until next time, guys, God bless.